Hello and welcome, ladies and gentlemen. This is Crimson Vegas with a capital K, and we're going to be playing Legends of Eisenwald for today. Now, a little backstory about this game. This has been in early access for a little more than a year. Actually, it's almost 18 months this has been in early access. Still in development, available on Steam, of course. And I bought this almost a year ago, and for a very long time I was unable to play it. And this is why I have never made a video about this game, because I'm playing on a laptop, and the performance is not the best, although I am able to play a lot of other games like Skyrim and the Kingdoms of Amalur and the Legends of Eisenwald, and plenty of other games that actually demand high performance. The Witcher 2, of course. But for some reason, this game in particular, it did not perform very well on my machine, so for a very long time I was unable to play it very well. I couldn't get past the first stage. Actually, it was very low frame rate, and I had a lot of frame rate issues, and there were not many options available to actually reduce the resolution and stuff like that. There still are not much of these options, but the good news is they have actually improved the game's performance dramatically after the recent patch. After the last few patches, and the game got much better. Of course, they fixed a couple of bugs here and there. They added more tooltips. They really improved the game over the last couple of years. Over the last couple of months at least. But I feel like the development is a little bit slow, but I'm very optimistic because this game has a lot of potential. I mean, if they could, you know what? I haven't actually got past the first stage, so I really don't know much. I don't have much to say about it at the moment. In fact, after the first stage is really the one that is familiar to me. After that, I will mostly be playing blind. So yeah, it's like a half-blind playthrough, sort of. If you're interested in that kind of thing, stick around, and we're gonna explore all the features of this game as we play. Yeah, that's what it's gonna be. We're gonna take a look at the sound. The sound is actually quite loud for this game, much louder than all the other games I've played so far. So I actually had to reduce the music volume dramatically, as you can see. Not much video options yet. These are actually quite important. Turn on the cascade, but I have no idea what these mean. A tooltip would have been nice, I suppose. That's not available. Tutorial is okay. I could actually turn this off. You know what? We're gonna keep it because we're not yet familiar with all the features that this game has to offer. Automatic saving, sure. Time liturgy. I don't know what this means. I assume it means like display the time, elapsed time or something. I'm gonna keep it, whatever that is. Sort items by usability, that's fine. Show bad grid, floating HP numbers, yeah, that's great. Actually, the more information we get, the better. Because right now, the tooltips have not been fully implemented, and you can't really view the stats of your enemies during battle yet. So the more information we get, the better. All right. Now, I've already started the game before, as you can see. I'm still in the prologue. It's mostly like a mini tutorial with a very easy mission. But we're gonna explore it together anyways. Alright. Well, there's an actual tutorial here. Well, that's interesting. I've never actually viewed this area. Yeah, apparently this was added later. I've never actually seen this before. Yeah, very interesting. It explains the basics as best as possible. But yeah, I'm pretty sure I have a general grasp of the basics that I don't need them. I don't need to read these things too much. Yeah, they're very interesting. Well, I could explain a couple of them, I suppose. The combat is... now, the combat in this game is quite unique. There are no movement points, basically. You can't order your fighter to stand somewhere without attacking. You can't skip a turn. At every turn, a fighter has to attack or use his special abilities. This is kind of unique. It makes the game a little bit faster than most traditional turn-based strategy games. You can't spend your time... You can't waste your time. I mean, this is actually not very accurate. As far as I can tell, there is a way some of your soldiers have the ability to defend. They basically take like a defensive stance, whereby they don't move, they don't attack, they just stay in their place and they increase their defense, buff their defense. I think there are some warriors that have that ability. I haven't used it yet, but we might actually run into it. But yeah, you can't skip a turn. You can just... and also there's a way for you to actually... there's a command you can give your melee soldiers to move away, move it to a safe location. They will move one tile away from their current position and they will just defend. I will show this to you eventually. Yeah, it's actually a bit more complex than usual, but probably because it's unfamiliar to most of the turn-based strategy players like myself. This is actually a very unique system, and it takes some time to get used to it, which I haven't yet, so expect a lot of mistakes, Now, I've only played the Mystic, and I think he's quite unique. I think playing as sorcery-based characters is a good way to test the balance of the game. You are basically testing the limits of the balance of this game itself. Usually because you see, mystics and mage characters are usually either underpowered in most games, or overpowered. You know, it's one or the other. So a good way to test the balance is to test the magical characters. I'm gonna use the right away. What do we call it? What do we want to call him? I'm gonna call him Crimson, just for simplicity's sake. There we go. Coat of arms. That's not very important. Actually, there are only 3 choices available. The tree is nice with a key down below. Indicates knowledge, growth, stuff like that. That would be cool. And we're gonna start the game. The Barons would be interesting. I'm actually interested in trying that one out at some point. I don't want to go for the Knight too much. I think he's probably gonna be the most powerful. I haven't tried them yet, but I'm guessing he is quite powerful compared to the others. Yeah, apparently the name goes away. We're gonna type that down again. There we go. And we're gonna start. Let's jump in. Alright, so there's no introduction video. We jump straight into the opening dialogue here. Castle Seedlitz. There's a warm welcome and mug of excellent beer there, I'm sure. And hopefully a mug of warm wine. The trek through the Goldstein swamps has seeped into my boots. Seems that dry land isn't too far away. Alright, so these are the basics here explained in this tutorial. Time indicator, yes, that's very important. Yeah, basically explaining the UI, the user interface there, the economy. These are actually pretty cool. They've been moved here, I suppose. Yeah, there we go. Now, as you can see, the mouse is a bit sluggish in this swamp area, but once we move out of the swamps, I think the frame rate will improve over time. Alright. Yeah, I will explain the interface later. For the time being, we're just gonna... Actually, let's talk about the inventory, shall we? We're gonna discuss all these things. There we go. So, when you hire troops, you can place them in special locations based on their class, but actually you can pretty much move them around everywhere. These are most likely going to be just suggested locations. If you have an archer character or a range character, you would want to place them here. That's what the game suggests, at least. And if you have a healer or a magic user, you want to place them in the back. And of course the melee positions are in the front here. But really you can move them all everywhere. You can move them wherever you want. You can even move this guy back here if you want, but that's just inefficient. This is just like a suggested position. It doesn't really limit where you want to place your troops, which is interesting. Because frankly, this guy, I think he would be quite useful in the front, because he has this ability called Ignis Magnesium. Inflicts 20 magical damage to an enemy unit. May only target a unit in a neighboring hex. So that's actually quite risky. It's a very unusual ability to have on a mystic guy, especially since, you know, there's a strange mechanic here. Your melee characters, they are the only ones capable of moving and attacking at the same time. And that's pretty much a requirement. You have to do this with your melee characters like this guy here. But my mystic, my magical character, he cannot do this. He can only attack units with Ignis Magnesium if they themselves choose to move next to him. So it's like almost like a reactionary ability. You can't actually target a specific unit and attack them from the get-go. You have to wait for them to move next to you in order to use it. It's a very weird situation. However, there is an upgrade. Punishing fire. Using Ignis Magnesium, a mystic can move and attack like a melee fighter. So apparently, you can actually end up building this guy as a melee fighter, or at least a fighter that goes into close quarters and murders units, like as a finishing move of some kind. And this move will actually get much more powerful as he gains more levels and give him more upgrades, improve his magic abilities and stuff like that. I think it's about the it's pretty much determined by the willpower, I suppose. I really don't understand the willpower mechanic, but we will explore it at some point. Oh, there we go. The character's amount of spiritual power determines the power of spells and the amount of spiritual power. So this is basically, yeah, the spiritual power here, this book symbol, it's basically your mana and your magic ability. How far your magic stat, basically. The higher this is, the more powerful your spells will be, and the more mana you will have. So it's all determined here. The more we can increase this, the better, of course. Which means the Ignis Magnesium will inflict more damage over time. The other spell he has is the Transmutatio Ferrum. The melee defense of a friendly unit becomes 10, replacing the current defense of a character, and lasts for 3 turns. Now this could be both good and bad. You want to make sure that any character you are casting this on, for example, yeah, it does not have higher than 10. So this guy here, he has a defense of 12. If you cast Transmutatio Ferrum on him, you are actually reducing his defense. So you want to be careful. You want to make sure you should probably cast this on yourself, really, especially if you are placing yourself in the front lines. Yeah, I think that's a pretty good bet. And guess what? I will actually place him on the flank here. Most of the enemies will probably target Berthold here because he's in the center and he's the easiest to attack. But at some point they might actually move next to my next to Crimson Vegas here, so we might want to, you know, just keep him on the flank. And we will eventually acquire more characters. Now Berthold is a very interesting guy actually. He's like your companion, your friend, and yeah. There's a lot of synergy between them. He's like the muscle and this guy is the brains. I kind of feel attached to these characters. They're pretty interesting. And you will see that the dialogue is very simplistic really, but I kind of like the dynamic between them. So they're very fun to watch. Punishing Fire, Stream, yeah. This guy does not have any upgrades, I just noticed. But he does have a lot of abilities though. I've never actually used any of these. That would be interesting to use, I suppose. Alright, so, and here we can pretty much equip everything. Yeah, you can, there's all kinds of equipments. And you can actually manage the equipment of characters that are not main characters. These are the main characters, right? Berthold and Crimson Vegas here. But eventually, you know what? I will show it to you later once we actually acquire new soldiers. Berthold, your fidgeting is unnerving. This is clearly the right road. You said something similar in the swamps and we spent hours there. Then if proof is what you require, perhaps my map will satisfy you and your incessant worry. We can always check it to see if we are on the right path. Well, let's do that. There we go. I just click the M button, it's the hotkey for the map, and yeah, that's pretty much all the map controls there. We're just gonna activate all these indicators there. The armies, the coat of arms for each army, and the descriptions. So here, and there's an actually zoom in feature, which is quite impressive. I actually like that. There's peasants here, there's a hunter there. You can't really tell if they are enemies or friends, but yeah, you're just gonna have to take a wild guess. I guess you have to you know, take a hint using their coat of arms. These guys appear to be friendly because they seem to have the same coat of arms as all the other normal peasants. So I would assume they are like neutral units or something like that. Yeah, show the buildings as well. Oh, so the buildings also have coat of arms. Okay, so this is apparently the main faction on our side of the the river here, and they all seem to have the same coat of arms. So I would indicate, I would suggest, or I would. I think those are supposed to be our allies or something, or friendly units, yeah. And here's the quest, the main quest. Go to Seidlitz Castle, Seidlitz Castle, I think that's how I pronounce it. There will be a warm welcome for you. Alright. Good day to you, travelers. I come from Seidlitz to escort you to the castle. I know these woods well. Alright. These lands are not foreign to me, friend. I know the way to Klauslin's castle. Oh, I don't doubt you do, my lord, but there's been trouble in these woods. We ought to avoid the more notorious parts, if you take my meaning. Well, then we best be on our guard. Let's be ready in case we do run into trouble. Very well. I think it's the inventory. Yes, if we click I, we get into this inventory interface right there. We're gonna move this guy behind them so that he can be protected. I'm a little bit worried about Crimson Vegas, but you know what? I'm just gonna keep him there for now. Or maybe I should just wait until he actually has better armor. Yeah, you know, his armor is just pathetic. Melee defense, range defense. Yeah, it's very low. We actually need to protect him. Eventually, we will give him some amulets and some, you know, small-time armor that will actually improve his defense and make him a little bit more tanky than he currently is. I mean, compared to Berthold, this guy doesn't hold up. He's just way too squishy. Yeah, this guy should definitely stay in the back as well. Doesn't do much damage, actually. Only 13. They can be upgraded though, which is nice. You can right click, hold the right mouse button, you can see all the upgrades they will acquire as they grow bigger. This is the crossbowman here. So it looks like there's at some point after you become a bowman you can split off. You can either become fixed with, you can focus on your skills with the bow or the crossbow. I haven't actually tested this yet. It looks like I assume, yeah, the crossbow is better used against armored units, whereas the bow is just used against light armored units or other rangers. You know. Yeah, that's pretty much it. And every unit you acquire comes equipped with its personal items, which cannot be removed, but they can be replaced with other items you buy in the game. Alright, so let's move on. I assume these guys are enemies, yes. A gang of runaway peasants covered in sludge from head to toe. It says here that they're friendly bandits. Friendly bandits, that's a bit of an oxymoron, so... Yeah, they're probably gonna attack us and just try to murder us. Alright, I hope this battle goes well. Welcome, good sirs, to the fine force of its benevolent lord, Red Bestial. Now come along and we'll introduce you to the man himself. Come along peacefully now, or things might not go well for you. Well, let's just say he's not very diplomatic about it. He's pretty much telling you, come along or just cut your head off. Alright, I suggest you move along. That's a good suggestion, actually. Bestial doesn't take kindly to rude guests. Well, that's straight into the battle. I would rather explain this by actually showing you the combat itself, so yeah, let's do that. This is the order queue. Much like Fall Enchantress and Final Fantasy games, yeah, the character with the highest initiative is most likely to go first, and the one near the top is the one that will attack next. Alright, just gonna move through here. Alright, so it looks like we're gonna be attacking first. I'm gonna Transmutatio Ferrum, a melee defense of a friendly unit becomes 14, replaces current defense of a character. So all of a sudden this one has become 14. It used to be 10 when I was in the items menu. So at this point, there we go. It says here melee defense +2. So Berthold will actually gain 2 defense, both ranged and melee, if we cast it on him. However, Crimson will gain 13 melee and ranged defense. So I would assume it's probably worth it to cast it on myself instead of on Berthold. There we go. So you see what happened? The only way for me to move this guy is to actually attack and move at the same time. You're not given any choice in the matter. That is something that you have to do. Alright, so what do we attack next? It looks like this guy is kind of resistant to damage. It's 14 damage, it's not much actually. I don't know if, one thing I would like them to add is for a way to actually right-click on the enemies and see their stats in the game. Oh, there we go. That worked somehow. Oh, okay. Finally. You have to click on a very specific location to actually view this. So what's this guy doing? He's pretty much identical to my own archers, so yeah, there's not much to see. He actually has a hat, which I don't have. Oh, I do. Alright. What about these guys? Fugitive peasants. They have light armor, they have a mob, which is pointless. Pitchfork strike. A unit armed with a pitchfork attacks any enemy unit that moves into a hex beside him. The power of his strike is 50% of the unit's base attack. If the target is okay, so it's apparently more effective against mounted units. And they have a mace strike as well. Stuns the target and lowers attack. Okay. Not very impressive units, really. We're just gonna smash them with this guy. Ouch. Oh, there we go. They're actually trying to attack my mage, which is good. This means that we should be able to catch the fire strike, the Ignis Magnesium. There we go. Let's see how much damage this will deal. 26 is actually quite impressive. I would have preferred to attack this peasant here and finish him off, but it looks like our forces are kind of split up at the moment. Alright, 29 damage. Is there any other attack we could use? Defensive stance. Okay, so this character can skip a turn to increase defense by 15 points. So yeah, this was the one I was talking about. You'll basically stay in your position and you can just take a defensive stand, increase your defense. This one, character retreats to a safe hex. It will make my character move 1 tile away from the enemy and just end his turn. That's it. You can also wait until the end, which will basically delay this character's turn until after your other characters have acted. This would be useful for healers, for example, in which case, especially if your healers have higher initiative than others, and I will demonstrate this eventually. We will get some healers. You want to wait for your characters to actually take damage, and then you would heal them afterwards. Alright, let's attack this guy. Looks like he is bleeding. Yeah, you can see the blood symbol there. It's not displayed here, but I can pretty much see like there's a blood symbol. I think he would take damage over time, not sure. Well, the good news is we can just finish this guy off. There we go. Now we have to worry about this one. Wow, that's a lot of damage on my archer. Well, we still can't murder this one. This is very strange. I would have preferred to attack the archer with the Berthold at this point, but the game is not letting me. It is pretty much forcing me to attack this peasant. I don't really understand that. I assume there's a mechanic in the game whereby you are forced to attack the frontline characters before you engage the ones in the back. But it's a very weird mechanic. I mean, the game is, aesthetically, the game is trying to be realistic. It has very realistic aesthetics, like all the clothing, the armor, and it's a very low fantasy game, really. It doesn't have, like, elves, dwarves, lizardmen, and all these traditional fantasy creatures. At least not that I've seen yet. We might run into these kind of creatures eventually, but right now, there's no such thing. So, yeah, they're going for a realistic aesthetic, but the combat is not very realistic. Ideally, this guy would want to just run straight towards the archers and murder them, but right now I'm forced to engage with this guy. Yeah, so that's an attack wasted. Alright, so the remaining enemies have fled. Cool. That was an easy battle. Yeah, for some reason the frame rate is horrendous right now. Maybe it's because of the... Alright, there we go. We're out of the swamps, the frame rate has improved, thank God. Now what I want to do is I want to go in there and actually heal myself. Yeah, in this building you can heal your troops, but I'm clicking on it and I cannot actually access this building yet. Odd. I guess it is triggered by some kind of quest. I would assume that's how it works, yeah. We can enter the summer fair, whatever that is. Looks like some kind of a merchant square. The summer fair takes place every year on this meadow on the day of the Apostle Matthew. Peasants, merchants, and masters from the area gather here to exchange goods and gossip. There tends to be much more gossip here than goods. Well, right now there's nothing really. Did we get any loot from our previous battle? Looks like we did not gain anything from the previous battle. We did not loot anything from these guys. We did gain some experience. We gained exactly 8 experience from that battle. Yeah, for some reason my Mystic, he gained only 8, which is weird. Whereas these other 2 guys, they actually gained much more than I did. Why is that? Like, how exactly do we control the experience gain? I want to level up my character as fast as possible. I want him to gain more skills. Do I have to actually land the killing blow? Is this like Pokemon? You actually have to kill the character in order to get these. Whatever. Alright. Be well, your grace. Thanks. This will be the peasant, I assume. So apparently there's a peasant army. There's a couple of peasants there and one healer lady. Alright. Now we can go around and explore. We can just visit this. There's a graveyard over there, yeah. I can't actually click on it, so let's just go straight towards this town here, Hog Village. Be well, your grace. Well, that's it. So apparently there's nothing more to do here. Hog Village. We will visit this eventually, I suppose. We're gonna try and zoom out here. There's a weird fog effect that the more you zoom out, yeah, the land gets a little bit foggy. So there's castle sidelets. There's a considerable army in there, so yeah, let's just head inside. I suppose they're friendly. Ah, Clauslin's castle. I swear I can see him from here, ready to welcome us. If you want to see who is in an army or in a garrison of a castle, click on it with the right mouse button. That's pretty much what I did there. That's that's my instinct. Yeah, so you can see this game is very similar to Heroes of Might and Magic, but honestly it reminds me more of Disciples. For those of you who are familiar with Heroes of Might and Magic and Disciples, in Disciples you'll basically control a party of units, unlike Heroes of Might and Magic, in which you control an army. In Heroes of Might and Magic you have stacks of units. You have like, for example, you have a bunch of footmen or archers. You can hire more of them and you can stack them on the same guy basically, and yeah, that's what we call a stack of units. In this, so basically you are controlling armies, but in this game you are controlling a small party of warriors. That's what it is. You don't control armies, you control small parties. So you actually feel attached to each and every one of your units. You want to keep them alive as long as possible because each one of them will gain experience. Each one of them can equip items. So yeah, unlike Heroes of Might and Magic, and indeed to some extent Disciples, you actually feel attached to your units. You want to keep them alive as long as possible. You want to heal them. Healers are very important here. And yeah, you basically want to grind your units and upgrade them whenever possible. Baron Clauston's sidelets has changed little over the years. A little grey has seeped into his hair and beard, but he retains the vigor and fierceness of the man you saw often in your father's company. Welcome, Sir Crimson Vegas. It does my heart good to see you. So this is sidelets. Unless I am mistaken, I don't recall you meeting your friend. Okay, that's a little bit of background there. I would prefer... I think the correct one is... I don't recall you meeting your friend... Oh, whatever. Just ignore that. Thank you for the welcome, Baron Sidelets. It's a pleasure to see you once again. Let me introduce you to Berthold, a loyal friend and comrade. He has saved me from the grasp of death more than a few times. You have a firm grip, Sir Berthold. It is fortunate that brought both of you here. Please treat my home as your own. I hope there was no trouble on the way. We did encounter a little problem along the roads. Bandits under the orders of a man called Red Bestel. Yeah, there's a bunch of small-time bandits. Troubling news indeed, but not entirely surprising. It would be a shame to spoil your arrival with a request, so both of you should rest now and regain your strength. Return to me when you are able, and we will discuss this further. I can see you are weary from travel and the recent battle. Make your way to St. Elena's church. Your wounds will be tended there. So apparently this is the trigger, which will allow you to visit that church. Oh, I'm glad that is cleared up now. You're supposed to be able to perform some actions in the castle, but right now there's pretty much nothing there. We got a lot of gold from the guy. That's very generous. Thank you very much. Castle Sidelets towers over the bluff, which stands above the picturesque curve of the river beyond the sound. Okay, it's not very important. Just a very small description there. So we're going straight towards the healer house there, the church. St. Elena's church. Alright, there we go. We can now click on it. It would be nice if there was a way for you to actually increase the speed. I think there's a way for me. I'm gonna test that out at some point. You can heal Crimson Vegas only, or you can heal everyone. I would actually prefer to do this. There we go. Didn't cost very much. Oh, actually, you can heal each and every unit individually. Alright. St. Elena's Church has been built by the former owner of Castle Sidelets. People said the old part of his... Alright, so apparently the Baron's mother was called Saint Helena? To her and Saint Helena, okay. So whoever Helena is, not sure if that's his mother or it was a corruption of the word Helena. Anyways, let's move out. I suppose we'd have to get back to the castle at this point. Let's go to the quest screen. Alright, so we have to return to the castle. There we go. Very simple quest. There we go. So as you can see, there's a lot of going back and forth in these early missions, but eventually it will get more challenging, I suppose. You're looking a little bit better. Wonderful. Why not go and teach Red Bestel a lesson? That way you can repay the wrong that was done to you, and at the same time rid me of a thorn in my side. That's actually a very good suggestion. Yeah, it's a very standard quest. Take care of bandits. It's like a mandatory quest in all RPG games, right? You'll first need to gather some men to assist you. There we go. Let's start there. I have a man in here in my castle that you can hire. Good. I'm already familiar with that. We're gonna hire this guy. Looks like a standard soldier there. He's level 1. He's not upgraded at all. And he's actually very cheap. Okay, so I assume he's a mercenary. Is he a mercenary? Well, you can see here in the economy screen, it says down there that we have recruits, 2 out of 5 recruits, and both of them are actually mercenaries. So how can you distinguish a mercenary from a non-mercenary? It's like... So pretty much everyone you hire, besides the main characters, Berthold and Crimson Vegas, are all considered mercenaries? I would assume that's how it works. And apparently mercenaries cost you more gold over time. They have a higher upkeep than the others. Wonderful. But infantry and archers are not enough for battle. First of all, you will need a healer, which you will find in the forest village. Very important, actually. Healers will keep your troops alive, and you absolutely need that in order to improve them and, you know, get them to grow and you know, stay alive basically, and so you can upgrade them. Secondly, a priest would not be such a bad idea. Don't be surprised. Sometimes sincere prayer does more than sharp steel. Try St. Elena's Church for such a man. All right. Also, my friends, I see that you are not equipped for a fight. You can get something better at the summer fair. And for you, Berthold, I have something special. This is a horse, which an acquaintance brought from Hungary. He swore that the horse is a descendant of an Arabian stallion. It is too high-spirited for me, but you are a better match. I told my servants to hold him back for you in a village near the castle. Alright, so we're gonna take that horse for Berthold. Thank you, Lord Klausland. I am flattered by such a valuable gift. Brilliant. I would assume we're gonna get our first recruit from Hawk Village. Let's take a look. Sir Berthold Craig, the Baron, told us to give you this horse. Okay, so this is where the horse was being held. Good. Wonderful. I hope it is well trained. Once I had a stallion, but I spent more time in the dirt than in the saddle. Well, let me try to set my foot in the stirrup. Please note, you have got not only the horse, but also the pike, since you can fight on horseback with horse pike only. Okay. Alright, again, there's nothing to do in Hawk Village, really, so we're just gonna leave. We're going back to the items menu. There we go. And now we have the horse. So, looks like the only guy who can equip the horse is Berthold, really. All the other guys, yeah, they don't have the horse interface there, so looks like this is the guy who's gonna take the horse. There we go. Congratulations. You are now mounted. Now the horses can only be used on flat terrain. If you are engaged in combat in the swamps or in the forest, Berthold will not actually be on the horse, he will be on foot. So yeah, that's kind of unusual. I mean, you could still use a horse in a swamp, although that would not be ideal. Anyways, it will increase our health by 10, initiative by 15, and yeah, +2 melee attack. This is actually very useful because the initiative of this guy is actually quite low compared to all the others. Yeah, he has an initiative of like 11, but thanks to the horse he now has 15. So yeah, we want him to attack first whenever possible, because he does have the highest attack here, almost. Alright, so we're done with the horse now. Let's move on to the village. I assume here's where we can buy our equipment. Summer fair, yeah. Looks like a standard marketplace. There we go. Well, that's very interesting items there, but you know, I'm gonna postpone this until we actually have units. We're gonna hire more creatures, more people, and then we can get back and actually give them equipment. Yeah, sounds like a good plan. Alright, so we have our first... It looks like a priest. Now what's interesting, these priests, they don't actually heal you, they will buff you. They will give you like a... This is a defense buff, Shield of Faith, and a blessing, which is a an attack buff. It will improve your attack. Yeah, very standard. He's gonna stay in the back, of course, because he can't attack as far as I can tell. Yeah, this guy has no attack. Another interesting thing about the game is that apparently your ranged characters, they cannot move at all. I think they can just move one step away from the enemy, like the same as the retreat function, but other than that, they don't have the ability to actually move anywhere on the battlefield. They will stick into their starting position. They cannot move away from it. Magical characters like like the Mystic here and these Acolyte, they have the meditation, so they can restore their mana, which is quite useful. Now we'll try to discuss the synergies between these units later. Alright. Forest Village. There's supposed to be some kind of... oh, there we go. Hiring. We can hire this. Now this is very useful. A peasant woman. She can restore your 20 health to a friendly character and the same amount in the next turn of this character. So an extremely useful unit. I'm actually thinking we should probably hire 2 of these. I would like to have as many of them as possible, these peasant healer women. Let's take a look at their upgrades. Well, first of all, their skills. Of course, they can meditate to restore their mana, just like everyone else. This character possesses spiritual power and knows how to use it to conjure spells and prayers. So this is her upgrade line. She becomes a herbalist, standard. Kind of reminds me of The Witcher. Really, there's a lot of herbalist characters there. Anyways, restoration and invigoration. Then she gains Vigor, increases an ally's initiative by 14. The effect lasts 3 turns. Okay, so this means you should probably cast this on some kind of archer, and he will attack earlier than usual. And this is where she splits off. She can either become a healer or a witch. Now I would assume that the witch and hag pathway is more or less evil. Yeah, impious. The will of characters with the preacher bonus is lowered by 5 if there is a character in the army with the impious characteristic. Now this guy is a preacher, so he is supposed to be pious, and he will improve the morale of everyone in the army except characters that have the impious trait. So if you want to upgrade your peasant women into a hag or a witch, you want to make sure that you don't have any acolytes in the army. You're gonna have to rely on them for all the buffs. Yeah, your hag is gonna be pretty much the only source of skill for buffs at that point. Yeah, she does not synergize very well with the acolyte. So if you want to continue using the acolyte and the peasant women together, you want to make sure that you upgrade your peasant women towards the enchantress pathway, because this one is actually, she is not, you know, evil or whatever you want to call it. Yeah, and she can still heal. You know, the witch is quite powerful herself. She can still heal, although it does come at a cost. She can actually, yeah, she will reduce initiative by 8 points, and she has a bunch of other abilities too. Also, she can cast offensive spells at your enemy, which is quite interesting. Yeah. So if you want to use these, you're gonna have to have like 3 of them to replace the acolyte, which you want to remove. But anyways, this is a very late game feature. We're not gonna be using these upgrades yet, I assume. So where do we go from here? We can go and explore this area, I suppose. I don't want to hire more soldiers, I guess.